to my readers in Romania. I'm so happy to be able to talk to you today about my book, Habits of a Happy Brain. Retrain your brain to boost your serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphin levels. You've probably heard people talk about these chemicals, but this is a completely different perspective that I discovered by studying the brains of animals. We have inherited these chemicals from animals, and that taught me something amazing. These chemicals evolved to do a very specific job. They're not designed to be on all the time. And that means that we're not designed to have just constant happiness flowing every minute of every day. We would love to have that, of course. I wish you would have that, of course. But if we don't, it means nothing is wrong with us. That's normal. That's the natural state. We want to get these happy chemicals because that's how they're designed to work. They're meant to motivate us to do things that stimulate them. So what stimulates them, you may be wondering? Well, that's why life is so complicated. So here's the simple answer. So one answer is they're stimulated by anything that meets a survival need. But what meets a survival need? You're not consciously thinking about your survival needs, but it's anything that you connected to your survival when you were young, because our brain wires when we're young. So, for example, a baby doesn't know how to survive, but whenever its needs are met, neurons connect, and then it feels good whenever it sees anything connected to meeting its needs in the past. When you're a teenager, your brain is very plastic, we say, which means connections build easily. So whatever helped you get social support when you were young built big connections, and you want that today, and it makes you happy today because your brain connected that. And so that's why we all have unique individual quirks. I don't know how you translate that word quirk, but it means that we all do things we don't really want to do or consciously intend to do because we expect it to stimulate our happy chemicals. Now, if you're wondering about these chemicals, let's say them again: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphin. Maybe you've been reading about them, but I didn't really have a lot of confidence in what I read about them when I was studying. So I was a college professor for 25 years. I taught management, and I learned the theories of human motivation that are popular today. And it didn't work with my students or with my own children. And I saw that it didn't even work with the children of the professors who were teaching this. So that's why I looked for new information. And one thing I learned from is research on animals, especially research on monkeys and apes. And you may have watched nature videos that show you something about animal behavior. And I learned the very specific behaviors associated with each chemical. So I'll tell you that very quickly today. So dopamine is the excitement you have when you expect something to meet a need. So here's a simple example. If a monkey wakes up in the morning and it's hungry, that's a need. And it can't go to the store to buy food or go to the refrigerator. So it has to find food. And when it looks around and it sees something good to eat, it gets excited because that will relieve its hunger. Now, in the modern world, we have easy, reliable ways to relieve our hunger, but our ancestors did not have that. So dopamine evolved to motivate our ancestors in that very difficult daily search for food and water and ways to keep warm. And today, we long for that feeling of excitement, but we don't get it in meeting our daily needs. So that's why we do quirky things to try to get excited. And the simple solution to that, I call it have a project. Have you noticed that whenever you have a project that you're working on, you feel good because you always have a next step toward a reward? And that's what your brain is looking for. So make a plan, set a goal, take small steps. A tiny step is all you need to stimulate dopamine, and then another step and another step. If you're stimulating it in a bad way, which is very common, don't blame the internet, don't blame society, just find a different thing to get excited over, and soon you'll forget about your bad habit because you will have power over your dopamine with small steps toward a goal. Now let's talk about oxytocin. This is the chemical of social bonding, and we hear a lot about social bonding in the psychology world, but a lot of this information doesn't fit the reality of animal life. So you will notice that animals have groups, but their groups are built on very selfish motivations. For example, if I'm an animal and I smell a predator that wants to eat me, so I'm afraid and I run to my group, I want the group to protect me, and you want your group to protect you. And you have the nice, safe feeling of oxytocin when you have people around you because you want them to protect you. But guess what? They want you to protect them. So this is why life is complicated and frustrating, but it really helps to know the reality. So we are all trying to build social alliances so that we have that support and that protection. And oxytocin is the good feeling of lowering your guard and relaxing because you have protection from others. It helps to understand how this works in animals. If I'm an animal and I want to eat the grass and I'm looking down at the grass, but then a predator can get me. So now it's hard to eat. But if I'm surrounded by my herd, then I can relax and eat the grass. So that's what we all look for, the feeling that you can relax because you're surrounded by others. But then what happens? Sometimes those other people get on your nerves, right? So this is why it's hard and why we're always looking for ways to build these social bonds and why it doesn't just come effortlessly. It's not meant to come effortlessly. You have to work for it. If you want protection from others, you have to offer protection from them to them. If you want support from others, you have to offer support to them. So this is the modern way to stimulate oxytocin. This is the adult way to stimulate oxytocin rather than just doing it the child way. So when you offer to someone else, then they may not respond immediately, but if you offer to someone every day, then over time, you will have nice surprises when other people offer support to you. And when I say support, I mean a tiny step toward support. I do not mean trying to control someone else's life or fix them, but tiny help to someone today and tiny help to someone tomorrow, and then appreciate when they offer tiny help to you. Now, let's move on to the next happy chemical, which is serotonin. This is stimulated when you feel confident and proud of yourself. Now, this is not what you hear in the medical world. We've all heard the medical approach to serotonin. But 30 years ago, research on monkeys showed that when a monkey feels stronger than the monkey next to it, a little bit of serotonin is released. And that's the good feeling we want. I am strong enough to meet my needs in a world where everyone else is trying to grab a banana, and I want to grab a banana like every monkey. And in the monkey world, if you grab a banana near a stronger monkey, then they will bite you. And the monkey doesn't want to get bitten. So it looks for a different banana where it is the stronger one. And that's what your brain is constantly doing. It's comparing your strength to others. And when it sees that you are the one in the position of strength, you get that good feeling of serotonin. And the feeling, the chemical is gone in a few minutes. And that's why we're always looking for more of these chemicals and always looking for ways to stimulate more. I'll very quickly explain endorphin. This is the feeling that, so endorphin is morphine. That's where the word comes from. It's your brain's natural opioid, and it's only released when you're in real physical pain. And its job is to mask pain with a good feeling so that you can act quickly to save your life. For example, in the animal world, if you are attacked by a predator and your flesh is ripped open and you're in pain, but you need to run away, so endorphin is triggered by pain. We are not meant to inflict pain on ourselves to trigger endorphin. You have probably heard about runner's high. This is when people run to the point of pain and trigger endorphins, which feels good. And many people have gotten the idea that this is the way to be happy. And I do not agree at all for so many reasons. So first, if you continually inflict pain on yourself, you're going to do long run damage, but you only get the endorphin when you run to the point of pain. So you're better off knowing that the other happy chemicals are the ones that we're designed to seek in the long run, and endorphin is only there for emergencies. We can just be glad we have it for emergencies, but to seek the other chemicals, seek dopamine by stepping toward a goal, seek oxytocin by offering support to others and receiving the support you get from others with goodwill, and seek serotonin by finding ways to put yourself up without putting others down. Your brain is always looking for ways to be in the position of strength, and you can do that in a nice way without being a jerk. And that will relieve conflict. You can seek serotonin without conflict. You can feel strong and confident by focusing on your own strength instead of worrying all the time about the strength of others. Well, I'm sure that your life will improve so much when you understand your happy brain chemicals, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.